everyone, this is your girl Jen T, and I am in Studio B doing this week's Historic Movementers. Yay! So this week's segment of Historic Movement, I'm going to be discussing about an individual who's recently been brought up in the media due to his passing. And because of it, I actually went in and started doing some research on him, and I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta do a top 5 on this individual. So let's, not have no more long-winded introductions, so let's get right on to it. These are the top 5 amazing facts about Harry Belafonte. So fact number 1, Harry Belafonte was born Harold George Belafonte Jr. and he was born on March 1st of 1927. He was born in Harlem, New York. Harry Belafonte was born to George and Mervyn Belafonte. I actually messed up his mom's name, so I'm gonna write it right down here at the bottom of his mom and dad. Belafonte, and they were Jamaican immigrants who came to New York to start a new life and help raise their family in New York City. They were hardworking parents, and during a period of time they actually sent Harry, we're gonna call him Harry to kind of separate him and his dad, so they sent Harry to Jamaica to live with his grandmother for a short period of time so he can get to know his Jamaican roots. And then he came back up to the States and began his career. So then that kind of leads us into fact number 2. So fact number 2 is kind of a lot of the things that I kind of known him for, which is his music. He is definitely one of bringing the Caribbean music to mainstream. Everybody knows Ideo, and Jump in the Line. If you haven't, I can't put a little tidbit of it in here due to copyright, but but if you have seen like Beetlejuice, or even you can just YouTube it. Actually, I might put the links to those songs at the bottom. You can watch it freely on YouTube. And those songs plus a whole list of songs he has brought to mainstream, and he was one of the ones that brought up the Caribbean flavor up into the States and became more mainstream as time progressed. And he was one of the founders of but one of the people that have brought it to mainstream, because Caribbean music has been around for as long as probably time, but he was one of the ones that brought it up to the Americas and kind of got the United States, not the Americas, but the United States, and got it more mainstream. And then what elsewhere, into movies, into plays, into TV. So those were some of the things that he is pretty much well known for in his career. So then we're gonna get into fact number 3. All right, so fact number 3, Harry Belafonte had a family. He had 4 children, and he was married, I think 3 different times. I'm gonna just double check my notes. Yes, he was married 3 different times, and he has 4 kids. His last marriage was with Pamela Frank, and he was married to her back in 2008 until his death, which was literally the past couple days ago in 2023. All right, so that is a little bit about his family life. So then we're going to get into fact number 4, which this one kind of shocked me, was his amazing advocating work and his work with the different movements that had came about, such as, I didn't know he was best friend with Martin Luther King Jr. Like, that was one of the things that kind of shocked me when I went into this, was his activism and how much integral he was in the movement. He actually helped fund some of the march down Washington. He was one of the people that helped funded it with his own money, which I thought was like amazing. He also helped with the issues that were happening in South Africa with apartheid and everything. He was also part of that too. He was a great advocate in civil rights for the people, not just one particular group of people, but for the people. And with his advocacy work, he and also his connections to the media, music, and also movies and things like that, he was actually on the Johnny Carson show as a host. When Johnny Carson needed somebody to step in for him for a brief period of time, he asked Harry Belafonte to do it. Now, mind you, he is a Jamaican man that is now on national television during a time where the civil rights were being taught, like they were pretty much marching for civil rights at this point. This was back in the 50s and 60s. Actually, I think this part was when we're hitting the 60s. I think it was like 1963. I'll double check and put it down when he was on the air for Johnny Carson. And of course, while he was on the air, he actually, was offered, hey, you can bring who you want to interview. So he was like, awesome. Guess who he brings? He brings Martin Luther King Jr. He was like, I'm curious to hear what that conversation was like. Hey, do you want to do the Johnny Carson show? Sure. Probably think it's probably along those lines. I'm going to put a snippet of the interview, which is mind-blowing that this occurred during this period of time. Even though now we kind of take it for granted, like, oh, that's not a really big deal. For this period of time, it was, because this was before, literally the spring before. This was the winter when this interview happened. In the springtime, Martin Luther King Jr. will no longer be here due to his assassination. And the March Down Washington hasn't occurred yet. So this was, you kind of hear the little snicker, like, hey, what's going to go on in the springtime? And it's like, of course they knew, because they were planning the March Down Washington, the Civil Rights March. So just saying, like, just in context of it and knowing that this is a precursor to what's about to happen is very much, it's like an awe. Like, it's like one of those things that's like amazing to witness and amazing that it's documented and we can see it, play back it. I will also put a link to that little interview because I can't put the whole thing, but I will put the link to the full interview down in the description box as well. So I know I went on with topic number 4. So now let's get into fact number 5. So sad to say, Harry Belafonte passed away literally yesterday, because I'm recording this the 26th. He passed away on April 25th of 2023 at the age of 96. In his life, I know a lot of people are like, he lived a long life. He did a lot in his lifetime. A lot of us knew, like for myself, knew him for his music. Did not know about him being an activist and an integral part at that in the civil rights movement, and also his work with the things that happened in South Africa, and also trying to get the rights for everyone across the board, which is amazing. And this was something that was, he really took in, and he was very much so an important figure that I think a lot of people don't realize, or a lot of people do realize it. It's just like, for me, it wasn't taught in school. So, I kind of want to put that out there. Like, hopefully you guys will want to learn a little bit more about Belafonte, and this is just top 5. But he did a lot more than what I put in here. This is literally just a tip of the iceberg. There's a whole laundry list of stuff that he did, a lot of accomplishments that he have done in his lifetime. So I definitely want you guys to take a look and see, if it interests you. I'm actually going to put 2 documentaries that I watched in the description as well. So hopefully you guys want to take a look at it and learn a little bit more. But I highly recommend watching the interview he had with Martin Luther King. It is amazing, and especially some of the topics they have is kind of relevant to today's age, which I thought was very interesting and eerie, that these 2 individuals just talked like it was just like a normal conversation that they were just having with each other. It was 2 friends talking, literally. Like, it was a recording of 2 friends talking, and you didn't realize how integral these 2 people are to how society is currently. So that is it for me for today. I am sorry I rambled on for quite some time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. So as always, you guys stay tuned, stay alert, and remember, you guys are the movement. You guys take care. Have a good one. Bye.